So I'm going to do a presentation on ASL and creating a basic conversation. So who knows what ASL stands for?
American Sign Language?
Yes. How many of you know how to say hello in Spanish? What about French? What about Japanese? So in language, we commonly have a language barrier where we can't understand what somebody else is saying. The same goes for the deaf culture. ASL is a part of the deaf culture, and so by understanding how to have a basic conversation with somebody, we can participate in the deaf culture and have a better understanding of it, is a language. So I'm going to say something as if you couldn't hear me. So what you're going to do is attempt to read my lips and then tell me what you think I said.
No idea.
Truitt's name is spelled Truitt.
Oh.
What about
I live in a big house in Middleburg.
yeah? Okay, so
And I live in their house.
we're going to go over a little bit of the history of ASL just to give you a better understanding of where it come from and how deaf people were once treated. So the actual come-abouts of ASL is kind of unknown. They don't really know exactly how it started or who came up with the first idea, but they have a basis for how it was created. So it was rooted in French ideas. Modern ASL and French ASL or French SL are actually very different. There's very few similarities between them now as there were back then. In the 1500s, deaf people were basically just cast aside. Nobody cared about them, nobody wanted to help them because they didn't know how to communicate with them. Geronimo Cardano, a 16th century Italian physician, actually declared that deaf people needed to have a way to communicate with the world and that they should be cared for instead of just cast aside. So they needed to come up with a system of how to help them communicate. In 1620, Juan Pablo de Bonet wrote the first ASL book and dictating to use illustrations and hand gestures to create a language for deaf to communicate with the rest of the hearing world. In 1775, in Paris, Abbé Charles Michel de Lep started the first American Sign Language School, or French Sign Language School, for students to attend to. And Thomas Hopkins Gallaudet opened the first sign language school in America, and that's how it started here. So he created the only liberal arts college in the world that is geared towards deaf people, and it's in Washington, D.C. So some resources that are available where you can read more about the history of ASL, the ASL Foundation for Deaf and Hearing Loss. The website is National Institute Deafness and Other Communication Disorders. LifePrint is where you can read about the history of ASL. You can also pick up this book, which is what we use in my ASL class, and it's called Signing Naturally. And it just goes through basic communication skills, considering this is ASL 1. So we'll get into that a little bit. So basic rules for communicating. Now, in the hearing language, we have things that we kind of go by guidelines of how we communicate with people. Eye contact, facing somebody when you're talking to them, not yelling at them, things like that. The same goes for sign language. So when you're talking to somebody that you're signing to, you want to make sure that you face them, you maintain eye contact, and there's also a window for which you want to sign in. So you want to keep it from here to here, and make sure that your hand is pointing the correct way, because any little movement can change what it is that you're portraying. Things to avoid would be whispering. It's kind of rude to whisper if you're in a deaf community, unless there are both hearing and deaf people present. That way you communicate and include everybody in the conversation. So we're going to do the alphabet. You come here. This is called finger spelling, which is signed like this. This is finger spell. So A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K. So, see, you want to make sure your pinky's down, your fingers are upright. L, M, N, O,
Oh,
P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. Good. So some basic greetings. This would be hello, kind of like a salute for the military. Hello. How are you? So you would do how are you. So this is your you. So how are you? Hello. How are you? I'm fine, good, happy, wonderful, bad, wonderful.
free.
My name, Jessie.
This is
Nice to meet you. And then what's your name?
coffee.
A lot of it is facial expression also. So just like the hearing community uses their voices to implicate their meaning, in the deaf culture you use your facial expressions and your body language. So nonverbal communication is actually greater than verbal communication. Some deaf people are able to hear small things and are able to talk. So you'll notice that sometimes when you're signing with somebody that's deaf, they may make noises or say certain things. But majority of the time, the best way to do it is to turn your voice off and specifically focus on signing. So come up here. And we're gonna have a basic conversation. How are you? I'm good.
Good.
How are you? What's your name? D,
T,
E,
E,
N,
N,
V,
V,
E,
E,
R.
R.
What's your name? So you sign out to me. What's
What's
your
your
name?
name? Jessica.
Nice.
Nice.
Meet.
Meet.
You.
You.
And that's just a basic conversation that you can have with anybody. So if you're meeting somebody, there's a lot of other simple signs like bathroom, wares, things like that that you could just easily pick up on. And these are really good resources because they go through step by step how to do things, have exercises, have DVDs with them that you can practice with, and this is called Signing Naturally. And then you can also pick up the American Sign Language Dictionary, which just has the most common used words. Now, not every word in the language is in here, but it has pictures and different variations because just like in the English language, some words have the same, are spelled the same but have different meanings. It's the same for sign language. So it might be the same word but have a different meaning behind it. So now that you know basic